So I'm changing the battery on my Subaru Impreza to this one. This is a much more newly updated version from Biltema, which is a car parts company here in Sweden. Blue label usually, and in this case you can see that this battery has cracked in some spots and started leaking acid. And this is a pro tip: if you have a leaking battery, it may short circuit in different parts, so it's good to have an extra pair of gloves and re-sleeve the leads so it doesn't bump into the battery, or for some reason the battery is still leaking in some places and maybe be currents that could be around the chassis. So this is what I do, respectfully, because changing batteries can be a pain in the ass, and it can spark and it can also melt if you use tools too close to the battery, which these extra gloves helps. So yeah, this battery has seen better days. Even the fact that I have been recharging the battery frequently and maintaining it, this is just outdated. So this is going out. Right, so this is another pro tip from an amateur. So the bracket the battery is supposed to stand on can usually be a lot of dust and dirt that accumulated during the years. So what we do is that we just yank that thing out, vacuum, and you can rub the most of the dirt and dust with fiber towels. These ones are called wipes, multi-purpose. They're good for everything, cleaning yourself as well when you have oily hands. And why I'm doing this is that if you have a malfunction in your engine, or maybe a gas line is leaking or anything, and it starts piling up, or maybe some plastic parts like this, it becomes a fire hazard. And the dust helps, of course, to ignite any kind of fires, or if it's a hot weather outside, or just the temperature is really high in the engine bay. So what I'm going to do is just going to put that thing back as I found it, and the new battery is going in. And this is the old battery, and as you can see, it's been leaking for quite some while. Probably since I bought this car. This is a family car, so it has to be trustworthy and reliable in form of using it as an everyday purpose vehicle. So if you have the time when you're actually changing batteries and such in the engine bay, take that extra 5 minutes to clean up, in case stuff like this is hiding somewhere and can be used as a match in case something happens. Just not good at all. So we'll see if the new blue label part will fit. It sure looks like the dimensions are still correct from this one. And as the last part for the whole installation, the bracket has seen better days as well. As you can see, during the years it has accumulated a lot of acid, which also has burnt through and melted some of the paint off this thing, which makes it rusts to start spreading everywhere, as you can see here. So try not to reinstall a part like this, because if you have a family car like this, well, it's not a usual family car, but still, then if you have this installed and you keep forgetting that you have a rusty part like this that keeps the whole battery in place, the rust can actually eat through the whole bracket and maybe release the battery in maybe an accident or a car crash, or maybe just high vibrations if you're in a forest somewhere. And that could also mean a lot of troubles for you in terms of security. So take that extra time to have some hammer finish painted on this thing again after some filing down of the rust here with a simple tool, and this should be enough. So the battery is in. It was slightly smaller than the company said it would. So in terms of fitting the bracket underneath, it isn't the most optimal, but it doesn't matter when the fork bracket comes back on again. But as for now, I'm just going to check if everything works as it's supposed to. So everything is back on, no gloves. Tied up most of the cables as well, so it doesn't bump into anything. And what we should do is just turn the key on and see if the computer understands what's going on here. And if you've been following my vlog for a while, you know I hate modern cars because I have no idea what the computers are doing. But still, we are hoping that most of the warning lights is going to go off. Yes, looks sort of normal. No extra accessories on. I'm just going to give this computer some time to readjust itself. And when you start your car now, and hopefully without any extra warning lights, you need to have it at least on for 5 to 10 minutes, depending on the car, in order to the emissions to correct itself. So we'll see what's happening here. Oh, it looks okay. No extra warning lights, thankfully, which can be the case when the computer is funky. This car in particular has a lot of sensors and readjusting itself in terms of emissions. But in this case it's just the battery, and the computer should just bump back in. But I'm going to check the faulty codes later with a cheap ODB 2 Bluetooth device you can buy on eBay, and just check on your Android or iPhone depending on the software you download. And well, if you see any faulty codes that suggest your battery has errors, you can just wipe them out, because you know it was you who did this. So I'm gonna let this car be running for a while and just check it's no any weird sparks or anything. So it should be back to business. Alright, so the car was running perfectly, no weird things going on, no sparks or anything. And I'm gonna reattach the bracket later on, but as for now it can be like this when it's in the garage, still recharging, which leads me to another thing, pro tip from an amateur. So this is a C-Tech smart battery charger, and I love these things. I have two of them. I have an old one and this is the new one. And what you can see here is that it has some settings for a motorbike of any kind, car, or if it's sub degrees outside and you really need to recharge the battery, or just keep it maintained during long storages during the winters. And why I'm reattaching this to a new car battery is that I have no idea what kind of condition this battery really is in, because still, when they sell these batteries, they are stored, and I don't know for how long and how old it is. So even if it's a new car battery and you have a charger, use it just to check up on it, or if it has some errors, which this CTEK charger can report back to you, then you have some time to actually go back and change the battery, if you have the receipt left, that is. So I'm gonna attach this one with crocodile leads or jaw leads, depending on which country you are from. And it's not as flaky as changing a car battery with tools, because the CTEK charger is really intelligent, and if you muck up anything, it's not gonna explode or anything. It's just not gonna charge, and it's not gonna burn your battery in any way. So attaching these leads and keep it on and see what happens. Well, nothing exploded. As you can see, you can attach pretty much in any way you want. Just be sure that you can close the hood later without bumping into these, depending on the height between the hood and your battery. And surprise, surprise, the battery wasn't fully charged, was it? Nope. And not even after 5 minutes of idle, the battery was in any way such a good shape to just start running about and using the battery as a normal charged battery. This has probably been sitting on the shelf for quite some while, losing charge, and this is the reason why I attach the charger like this, just to check up on it. But in this case, I was right yet again when it comes to batteries. So I'm gonna let this charge over the day and check out how it looks in the evening. So I'm back at the garage. It's late in the evening and the CTEK charger has done its work during the day. Now the car battery is fully loaded and it hasn't shown any errors. So pending analysis, the car battery was stored for quite some time before I bought it, and it took all day to charge it, which is usual, but for an used battery mostly. But hopefully it's gonna keep its charge. I'm gonna check it up during the while I'm driving the car later on. So yeah, for now it's attaching the newly painted bracket. Almost looks like new. And I tried something different this time. I used a toothbrush to apply the paint, which was surprisingly easy because you can rub it in on all these parts that was heavily rusted, and the paint sticked on a lot better. And I didn't know this. I used the toothbrush because I didn't have any fine line of brushes in smaller versions. But it worked great. So thanks Pepsodent for supplying me with free brushes for fast paint jobs on brackets of this kind.